Hi everyone, this is Jean with Rebel Yell Rising, and I have your weekly message for the 13th through the 19th of August. Thank you all so much for joining me. There's a very profound message this week. It is truly a collaboration between myself and Spirit, headquarters, as I like to say, heaven, God, the angels, them. So I'm going to try and keep it as short as I can. I know you guys have many things to do, and I appreciate you joining me. So I'm going to start off by asking if any of you guys who've been following along remember the reading that I did on 30 July to 5 August. It was the weekly reading. And I drew this card, and the focus, I was saying that what was really catching my attention was that red seal, and how I felt like the energy was like building up, and it just felt like a pressure cooker, and that something was getting ready to snap, something was getting ready to pop, right? And I could almost feel like that seal was getting ready to crack in half. And when it did that, what was on that scroll would be revealed, not in a literal sense, but that it's, it would open up like the seal, the gates, and, it would propel us into a new level of awareness, because then we would know what was on the seal. Essentially, it would be, we would know what was on the scroll. So it would essentially be a new level of awareness, right? Well, this past week, I think it was on the 8th, in celebration of the lunar eclipse and the full moon and Lionsgate on the 8th, I had a little invocation ceremony. I just by myself, had some crystals out and, drew some cards and lit candles and had incense. And anyways, so what I did was I'd actually lit a red candle, which I hardly ever do. Actually, I don't think I ever have chosen a red candle. And I lit that candle and let it, melt all the way down. And the next day I was trying to get it out of the dish that I had used. And let me put it here so you guys can see. And as you can see, it's clearly cracked. Well, as I got it out of the dish, it was in one piece. And then as I was throwing it into the garbage, for some reason, I just wanted to, I had an itch to just snap it in half. And as I did it, it was like I got chills over my body. And the image of the card that I just showed you flashed in my head of that red seal on that scroll. And I understood that the energies this past week, in fact, did pop open that seal. Something has been cracked open. The seal has been broken, and we are being pushed into a new level of awareness. There's a shift, right? A birth of something, if you will. We just don't know exactly what it is yet, but it's here, it's coming. And because of that, there is, if you've noticed this past week and these past months, but especially this past week, I feel a lot of unrest in the world. Locally, wherever you live, if I'm sure there's unrest if you look locally, nationally, and then globally. There's so much going on in the world. I think that's probably why this message is coming out a little bit late. I do apologize for that. The message, I guess it wasn't ready until today, so I'm actually filming this on Sunday, and I'm going to be posting it on Sunday the 13th. Because the message just came this morning. I'm not sure if maybe I wasn't ready for it until today or what, but so I'm going to start out with there's a sentence or two that Spirit gave me, and then it's almost like they just went away. and I was supposed to kind of fill in the rest of that message. So I hope that you will be open to, be receptive to the message. So the message it's almost like a writing prompt, if you will, from Spirit was this. There's so much anger and fear. And naturally, as humans, when we feel threatened, as with any form of life, we want to offend. And that was it. And I know it was odd because the message was, we want to offend. I naturally would have thought the message would have been, we want to defend, but it came out as we want to offend. So that was the beginning. There's so much anger and fear, and naturally as humans, when we feel threatened, as with any form of life, we want to offend. And then I was like, okay, what's the rest of it? And that was it. So then they gave me an analogy, and I understood I was supposed to share this with you guys. So I'm going to use an analogy, and I hope you'll stay with me here. So imagine, 2, 3, as many as you want. Imagine candles, right? Big, tall candles. Imagine the wax, how thick and dense and heavy and hard it is. That candle wax, as dense and thick as it is, would be like the energy that you would feel in a bar. That's the fear, the doubt, the anxiety, frustration, right? It's heavy, it's thick and dense. Now, when you light that candle and you see that flame in your mind's eye, that's high energy. That's a very light vibration, like it's a light feeling. That's like what you would feel in a place of worship or of any religion or any holy site. If you've ever been to a bar, and if you've ever been to a church, a temple, on a pilgrimage to a holy site, you know what I'm talking about. There is a distinct change in the air. There's a feeling that you can actually physically feel between the two. It's thick in a bar. It's like the air's thick. And in, a place of worship, it's very light. So when that flame is lit, you are that candle, right? That's every human being. And you are, at first, that dense wax. You are that heavy vibration, that heavy energy. It's very thick. But when that flame is lit, you sort of transition into a state of awakeness. And even in that state of awakeness, there are many different levels of lumosity. I'm not really sure. Like brightness and, flame. And that flame of awareness inside you, once it's lit, it is alive and burning. It's a beacon. You are a beacon signaling to other light bearers, a sign of recognition. So you are a candle, heavy and dense, and then there is a sort of awareness that takes over you one day. And I'm sure it's subtle, it could be sudden, but that's your flame being lit. And as your flame is lit, it is a beacon to other flames that are also lit. The light in you recognizes the light in them. Now, this is just an analogy, and in reality, every human being's flame is lit. It's just to different degrees and how much, shadow that particular flame is trying to grow in. But for the purposes of this analogy, you're either lit or you're not lit. But we are each a candle. Now, imagine the candle side by side with a candle that is lit. The candle that is not lit is just sitting there in that heavy wax. Whereas the candle that is lit, that thick wax, that thick, dense material of anger and fear and hatred starts to melt away. So, as your candle remains lit, there are going to be times when you feel like your flame, your light might be getting a little less bright. And that's the times that you are giving in to what you see around you, what you see on the news, what you see in the media, what you're reading about the atrocities and the injustices around the world and in your own hometown. When you see these things, you read about them, and it's okay to feel anger and to feel frustration and despair. That's why we're here. We're humans. But when you let it become your state of being, when you let it overtake you and seep into your consciousness, then your flame gets weaker, right? That awareness, that consciousness, it's sort of like it dampens. And that flame might start to flicker as it loses hope and as it loses sight. But if you can remain in that state of awareness, if you don't give in to becoming angry, to becoming fearful, and hating the injustice and those that you perceive to create and perpetrate injustice, then your flame will remain lit, and your own thick energies of your own, fear and hatred that are in your body, in your being, will melt away. And what will you be left with is your flame. Now, of course, there are billions of us in this world. So I know you think, okay, well, if I'm a candle and I'm lit and my flame is burning, how am I going to affect all these other candles that are not lit? How are they ever going to, catch fire? How will these individuals that are perpetrating injustices and doing cruel things, they're never going to see the light of day. They're never going to change their ways. They're never going to see what they're doing is wrong. Well, have you ever considered or noticed if you were to leave 1 million candles out in the sun, even without ever lighting them, they would melt in the heat of the sun. So even if their candle is never lit, right, to that level of awareness deliberately, your awareness, your remaining in that higher consciousness, keeping your flame lit, and your neighbor staying in that higher level of consciousness, keeping their flame lit, and all the individuals that are keeping their flame lit, that are not giving in to fighting anger with anger, that are not giving in to fighting fear with fear, but staying in a place of love and compassion, all those flames together make up the sun. And sooner or later, the sun will melt all of those unlit candles. The sun will melt away the denser energies of those unlit candles, even if there's never any direct contact. So I hope you're still following me with that analogy. So that was the analogy I was asked to share with you guys. And what this message is a call to arms. This is my message. This is what I stand for and what Rebel Yell Rising is about. I am asking you to put on your uniform. I am asking you to pick up your weapon. Because if you're watching this video, you've already signed up. You swore an oath. Your training occurred before you came to this life. You are a soldier. You are a warrior. And the lines are being drawn, and in some cases have been drawn. But your weapons are strong. Your weapons are stronger than theirs, although it might not feel like it. Your weapons are mercy, compassion, and knowledge. Knowledge that only by staying a light, by being a lit candle and not letting that flame extinguish, by staying in the virtues of mercy and compassion, you know that those denser energies are going to eventually melt away. But you have to remain lit. You have to remain a flame. I don't even know if that's a word, but that's what I want to say, a flame. Again, even a million unlit candles that are resistant to change and resistant to being lit, that are resistant to higher consciousness and awareness, they will eventually, their fear will eventually melt away. Their anger will eventually melt away. But only if there are more lit candles than unlit candles. So I hope that made sense to you guys. I know this message is pretty long for this week, but I'm understanding that it's very necessary in these times. So I went ahead and drew a couple cards for this week, and this first one I actually already saw, but I didn't want you guys to get distracted with it. So I asked, what is the message for this week? What do we need to know about this week? And the card is Justice. And I just started laughing when I got this card because it's beautiful. It's perfect. I didn't even know this card was in this deck. It's the Life Purpose deck by Doreen Virtue. It says your career brings fairness and protection to others who need your help. And while that is true, what I'm really drawn to is that light. The light that she's holding. It's a candle. Hold on a second. I need to see this in my face. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like a little teeny tiny candle, guys. That's amazing. Wow. My mind is blown. And look how much light is radiating from that one candle. And that's what I'm asking of you. That's what Spirit and God is asking of you. I call them headquarters. Old habits die hard, I guess. But that is what is being asked of you. You are here to shine your light. We all are. Every single one of us. It's just that some of us forget. And in doing so, justice will prevail. That is what we need to remember. That is what we need to know for this week. So when you see an injustice being done, have compassion, because the perpetrator of the injustice, they're on their own path too. And we don't know their contract between them and God. But know that the brighter you shine your flame, your inner light, the more you shine and the brighter you shine your mercy and compassion, and you stand in that knowledge that your flame is going to help melt away any fear in this world, it's already happening. Okay. Now, these are angel answers, and I didn't ask a specific question, but the messages, these both came out. It is in regards to all the turmoil that we've been seeing, all the instability, there's like the energy, it's uncertainty. That's what it is. I couldn't figure it out. So this is about the uncertainty that we're all feeling. And this first card is to choose a new direction. Let me take a look at the second card here. Get more information. So, choose a new direction. I feel like this is perfectly in line with what I was saying. I see so many people that I know, their flames of higher awareness and higher consciousness are lit. They know, they stand in the knowledge of what is true, and they know, like, these are light workers. And because we're all human, we're all susceptible to getting angry and frustrated, and we see what's going on in the world, and it upsets us and it hurts us that our fellow human beings are being treated in certain ways. But then I see them move into a place of anger also, and condemnation, that what is being done is, it is unjust. That's not even, I see these people who are lit with awareness start condemning, I guess is what it is. It's that they are condemning. And when we condemn, we are judging. What this is saying is, choose a new direction. Don't stay in the frustration. Don't stay in that anger. Oh my gosh. You guys, look at all these people carrying flames, carrying lights. It's what I was just saying about, if we all stay lit in that higher consciousness, in that knowledge that our lights together will melt away the fear. They are the sun. They become the sun and will melt away the fear and energy, because all of us standing together in mercy and compassion, that's like a million candles. Imagine a bajillion candles. Think of as many candles like lit. One candle alone, but how many together, how bright that is. Now get more information. That's the Merkaba. It's also known as the Chariot of Ascension. And in the middle, give me a second, I gotta see this outside of the camera. Inside the Merkaba, which is known as the Chariot of Ascension, is a dove. It's peace. Peace within. Peace within you. And so long as you let those, I guess, flames of anger continue to roar inside of you, you won't feel peace. But here, peace is the engine to ascension. Peace is the engine in the chariot of ascension. And if there's no peace, then the chariot of ascension is essentially stalled. That's beautiful. Wow. You guys, I told you the message this week is very profound. And in this card, I asked what past life energies, because, you know, it's collective and we've all shared many lives. What collective past life energy is there for us to tap into or coming through? Trust and faith. Trust and faith. Well, I don't know why my camera is readjusting. I don't really think anything needs to be said other than what's right there on the card. Have trust in the bigger plan that we don't know, and have faith that this is all part of it. Just letting that energy sink in. All right. I want to thank you all so much. If you're still tuned in, I know it's a really long weekly reading. Just want you guys to see that justice will prevail. Oh my gosh. Choose a new direction. Don't choose to stay in anger. Get out of it. Look at all these individuals with their flames lit. That's you. And although this does say get more information, that is what's being drawn out, is the dove. Peace. By peace I come, by peace I leave. And the past life energy that we can tap into, that is coming through this week, is trust and faith. It's beautiful. All right, you guys, thank you so much. And please, 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 if you know anybody that you think would benefit or would enjoy this video, please feel free to share it with them. Have a beautiful week.